Hi everyone, I made this short video about regulating the ETA 2824. Basically, when you get this movement from the factory or from your supplier, usually the rate is a little bit off or not exactly what it should be in different positions, as you can see in this example movement. You can see the time graph we're reading, the amplitude is fine, and the bit error is perfect, but the rate is plus 20 to plus 19 seconds per day, which is a little bit too much. Therefore, in order to adequately regulate this movement, we have to remove the automatic works, and that's what we'll be talking about in the next segments. As you can see with this example movement that we have here, you can clearly see the micro regulating screw on the balance cock. And you can also see the balance stud, which is used to regulate the bit error, but the regulating pin is obscured by the automatic works. Therefore, it is very important to gain access to the regulator pin in order to adjust the rate of the watch, especially if your watch came with a very high or very low rate, before moving on to more fine adjustments using the micro adjustment screw. I would also like to let you know that you do not need to remove the movement from the watch in order to perform this procedure, but I will use a separate movement for more clarity in how the procedure is done and for better visualization of the watch components. So we have here an ETA 2824 movement in its movement holder, and the first thing we would have to do is to remove the oscillating weight, which is held in by this center screw. Please excuse my hand, which is in the middle. I am removing the center screw very carefully. And I always like to use brass tweezers when handling the metal components of the watch as not to scratch them. The oscillating weight should come off easily once the screw is removed, and you can set it aside. Next, you can see the automatic work plate with the reversing wheels, which is this segment of the watch right here. And it is held in place by only two screws, which are this screw right here and this screw. This third screw that you see is not part of the automatic works. It's the upper crown wheel screw. You do not have to remove that one. So I'm going to remove the screws from the automatic work plate very carefully. Again, please excuse my hand as I like to stabilize the screwdrivers while removing the screws. Very carefully set them to the side so they do not get lost. These are very tiny screws. Now, after you remove the screws, you may find that the automatic work plate may be a little difficult to remove initially. I like to turn the wheels a little bit, it helps it loosen it up. However, sometimes you may need to use your screwdriver as a lever in order to loosen the plate. Now do this very carefully and very delicately. Do not force absolutely anything on the watch movement. It will eventually come off. And do as I am doing in several different locations in order to carefully loosen it. And you will see that it will pop off like so. Then you can grab it with your brass tweezers and remove the automatic plate, which will demonstrate the inner workings of the watch itself. And specifically, it will expose the balance regulation pins. The balance regulating pin, which I will show now, is this one. The balance stud is next, and the micro screw regulator. So here we have the movement on the time grapher, which I would highly recommend you always use when regulating a movement. And in this case, I'm just using the micro regulator screw in order to do some fine regulation on this movement. Remember to use the regulating pin for gross regulation of the rate, or the regulating stud for correcting the beat error. So all that is left is to put it back together, and I'm going to show this using a watch that I had already regulated, and the procedure is the same but in reverse. The first thing would be to properly align the automatic work plate with the corresponding screw holes. And then I like to use a pegwood to hold it in place and just make sure that the wheels are engaged, or that the gears are engaged as they are here. And then very carefully I blow a little bit of air to get any dust out, and we can place the screws. Once the automatic works is in place, I like to check it to see that everything is functioning properly, and then we can place the oscillating weight very carefully and using brass tweezers, and then we can screw it in place. Once the oscillating weight is screwed in place, it is always good to check that it is properly engaged to the automatic works by giving it a couple of turns with your pegwood. In this case, it is properly engaged, and I'm just putting it over the balance wheel in order to use my bellows and blow out any dust particles that may have settled on the movement during this procedure. And all that is left is just to place the case back and screw it in place, and you're done. So this is a watch I made which has an ETA 2824, which I regulated, and I just wanted to show you that you can achieve a very accurate watch and timing by carefully regulating the movement, almost to near chronometer specifications. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it and that you learned, and have a good day.